Did we talk about the music?
The music, you did, yeah.
I was trying to make a joke because I was trying to talk it to death, but no.
Yeah, I heard they got Hans Zimmer for this.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
All right. Impressive music.
Well, they wanted to, but he couldn't do it, so they had to get,
Some no name.
Yeah. They had to get Hans Sakuraba to do it.
What up? This is the Twice Over Film Club, where we watch a movie every week. I'm your host, Faraz. Today is our discussion on The Garden of Words. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch it. It's on Netflix if you still need to see it. This upcoming Monday we will preview Silver Linings Playbook, and next Thursday we are discussing The Lighthouse, so get that watch in by then. The Lighthouse is available to stream on Amazon Prime. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes, and follow us at The Twice Over on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to stay up to date on everything we watch. Alright, so here's myself, Farhan, and Fahad discussing The Garden of Words. Let me give like a little brief of rundown of what this movie really was,
Okay.
right? Alright, so this is basically a high school student that develops a friendship with an older woman. Specifically on rainy days, he skips his first class to go to this garden in Tokyo, and over there he meets her. Again, yeah, they develop a friendship that kind of becomes more, he opens up to her in a way that he hasn't opened up to anyone in terms of talking about his shoemaking hobby, but then she herself is more or less a mystery to him. She doesn't really talk about herself at all to him. Alright, so this is what Waqas had to say. He said he liked how they handled the student-teacher relationship. I should mention that older woman ends up being the teacher at the school that the student goes to.
So yeah, I was reading additionally outside this movie some notes on what people had to say about it. That student-teacher relationship. There's an it's a taboo here in the States, but it's even a bigger taboo there because everything's supposed to be like normative. You're not supposed to do these things. You're not supposed to have this relationship. So it's interesting this film tried to tackle that subject.
But interestingly, they do it from a different way where the student doesn't know she's the teacher. He just thinks he sees some older woman in the corporate world that is skipping work because she's done with that life or whatever. And yeah, no, they definitely get into that taboo because the reason she is at the garden and not at work is because she has stopped going into work where she is getting bullied and like harassed because another student had fallen for her.
Right.
Yeah, this lady needs to really just watch how she behaves in front of 15-year-old kids. Really, that's what needs to happen. Maybe if people keep falling for you and they're 15, maybe you should, I don't know, just be a little bit more, wear more clothes or whatever that you got to do. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe be more authoritative if you're the teacher and not the super nice flirtatious lady.
Maybe don't entertain the idea. You know what I mean? Don't sustain somebody's feelings and just lead people on, which is 100%
what she does.
What she did with this guy.
Yeah. And
she probably did the same thing to the other kid. No, of course he fell for her. So like, why? I don't know, man. My whole thing, right, with movies is that I don't want to see. I want it to be believable. I don't want to be able to see a process, man. And stuff like this that's just so out there and it's so like unrealistic. It's just like why are we even why is this
like
in a movie
emotionally
right now?
Unrealistic, right? I mean, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Even like fantasy try to adhere to like real human emotions and like
and she's the protagonist in this story. This is not even like look at what this lady is doing. Like she has this problem where she's into these kids and she doesn't even freaking know it. No, she's a protagonist and the movie says nothing about how improper that relationship is for a teacher to be having with multiple students now. And this is the only ones we know about.
Hang on.
Who knows what else is going on?
Are we reading too much into this? Like the implied relationship with the other student?
No.
It's not. I thought it was like some student had fallen in love with her, but she didn't reciprocate those feelings, and then because she didn't reciprocate, that they were pissed and they started rumors. And I thought that's what the crux of the conflict was and why she wasn't going to work. And with him, I can't give her a pass.
Yeah, because she knows he's a student because
The
of
badge.
the school
Right.
uniform and everything.
She knows that he's a student, dude. She took out... Okay, so we're talking about these taboos, right? This lady took out her foot for the dude to measure for a shoe, which, first of all, makes no sense.
Just give the
Does
shoe.
that make
right?
any
I
sense?
don't know. I've never made a shoe myself.
When you're making shoes, do you have to make them custom for people? Are
Mhm.
these like Yeezys? Like you just make a shoe in a size, and you just look up the average width of a shoe that you need to. You don't have to sit there and draw out somebody's foot. That's such. They made that scene, in my opinion, like weirdly
Sexual.
like there was that there was an aspect of that to this, and that's very uncomfortable for sure, and it's very improper for a teacher to be doing that with a student. For us to have to feel bad for this lady who is like, had somebody else fall for her, and now this dude's falling for her, and there's a 12-year difference, which fine, if you're older, that's fine. He's 15 years old.
I will say one thing though, as far as like Japanese craftsmanship or artisans go, very custom made anything, I'm sure is very common. So like to have like very custom made shoes, I can totally see that being a pocket of Japanese culture where there's literally apprentices that's what they do. They make custom shoes for
And they
people.
have to go out and measure the foot.
And that's fine.
The way the movie showed that scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of others, man. She just completely was flirting with the dude like outright sometimes. So,
Okay, so think of everything you're saying here, how she clearly like kind of led him on. He eventually proclaims his love and says, "Hey, I think I've fallen in love with you." And she just straight up rejects him right there. Like, "Hey, remember, I'm Sensei Yukino. Like, I'm your teacher, or I'm your teacher." And he abruptly leaves. And she like, this is a very sappy part. I straight up laughed out loud when this happened.
yes.
Like the scenarios of the past are going in her head of what he's done to show how much he cares about her. And then she jumps out of her chair to chase him. That was ridiculous. But his response to her was pure anger and frustration. And for a 15-year-old immature kind of person, that's a totally valid way to respond to a teacher that totally led you on and like played with you. So like I thought that was fine. Her chasing after him is what I thought was like weird and lame, but his response was good. And then I guess them hugging it out and saying how he actually saved her with what he was doing and keeping her.
So stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little weird. Except his response was well done. I thought.
I
that
don't
was
think
nice.
so. I don't think so, because I think the whole point of that everything up to that scene painted him as this ultra mature 15-year-old.
Yeah, it did.
Who was taking care of himself and his brother and his mom when he needed to, and he was doing like he was independent. And he's standing up for people, like going to fighting that whole crew, and standing up for people and doing what a mature person would do. And then in that moment, I felt like it was
just like breaks down.
like he just breaks down. I felt like I was watching Naruto yelling at Sakura.
He was.
You guys don't know those references. I
didn't watch Naruto. But he had every right to be angry, right? Like we've established that because of how messed up the teacher
For
was.
us, I get it. You're making a good point, like the anger, but then the way the scene carries out, he has like a 2-minute solo dialogue.
Yeah,
where it's
solo.
like
You're right.
anger and emotion,
Monologue.
And, it just got way too sappy and weird. And I mean, if he lashed out for like 10 seconds, okay, perfect, well done.
Right.
So they just
But
dragged it
sitting there
out.
and be like, you did this to me, and you did this, and now you're gonna do this, and then this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and I hate you for
Yeah.
a minute. And she's just sitting there with just crying, and the art direction went completely different place here too, because everything had been like, kind of, they made it sort of realistic, and then she's just sitting there just crying, and there's just tears just coming down her face, and she's just standing there just like, it's so stupid.
Even
man.
visually, it wasn't that impressive. Like the other shots
No,
were like nice
it
and slow
wasn't.
and serene. This was, I guess, it just didn't fit the rest of the aesthetics of the movie.
Yeah.
In every way, acting and writing and visuals, everything.
And if it was just a small part, if this was just like a tiny little scene or something, I would not care. But this is the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about the most significant scene in the entire movie, in my opinion. And for it to be completely off course, and not only off course, cringy. That's why, I just really, I hate that they did it. And I understand that they probably don't care what I think, and that's fine, because the people who really loved this movie, I'm sure this director has a bunch of movies that do exactly this, and this is a staple, I'm sure, and it has to be in these movies. There's got to be this emotional scene, this breakout scene, something dramatic.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that works, right? That formula of having this whole movie where the emotions are kind of repressed and then just having this 2-minute burst of emotions. Do you think that works overall? Could it ever?
Not for us.
Not for us, right?
Clearly,
but can it work?
For the people who it does, sure. For the dude, there's all kinds of stuff that we sit here and we're like, I can't believe that anybody would watch this movie. Meanwhile, there's millions of people watching this movie or show or what have you. It depends on what you mean by like work. Like work in terms of making it, realistic? No.
Palatable.
Maybe that's not what people are palatable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not what people are interested in.
All right. I get it.
You know what I mean? And that's where we differ from, I think, a lot of people who watch these kinds of things.
So one thing what Gus said was he liked how they handled the student-teacher relationship. What did you guys think about like the way that relationship was blossoming? So it seems like you guys just thought it was cringy.
No, not at all. For most of the movie, I just thought it was like a friendship. I wasn't reading too much into it. I guess I'm just that ignorant of like, I don't know. But like they were supporting each other. She was like trying to encourage him to pursue his shoemaking career. I thought that was pretty cute, I guess. And then he was trying to explore her past and question why she was always like depressed and drinking in the middle of the day. I guess he didn't really try to support her, right? In that way, in a similar way.
He didn't have a chance to, right? But he did in like the little things that he could, like bring her lunch.
Oh yeah.
Like talk to her, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was okay. Like I don't know. He's saying that instead of love as a catalyst, they use characters as guidance to grow and evolve. Sure, this goes to like the entire theme of the movie where they're learning to quote walk, and I can like see it going one way where she clearly helps him feel confident in his work and his hobby of shoemaking, encouraging him, things like that. I really don't see how he really helped her other than
just being there.
Other than being a student and letting her be the teacher.
Yeah,
But maybe that's what she needed because she was in a bad spot after what had happened with a previous student. Or not really with a previous student, because we don't know, like Fahad said, with what had happened in school in general, where there's rumors abound about her, about her relationships.
I don't know. So regards to the relationship, I think from his perspective, like, well, okay. I'll talk about that later. But from his perspective, fine. From her perspective, already having this little scandal, this little thing going on the side, for her to be engaging in this other relationship, not even a friendly relationship, whatever it is, with this other 15-year-old, was completely, honestly, unrealistic and inappropriate. So I don't like the way that they handled that relationship. I appreciate what they tried to do. I don't think that I did not get that message, like you guys are saying, that they helped each other learn to walk. By how? Giving her sandwiches? Like, I didn't get that at all. I really didn't understand it.
By being there because she's lonely, I guess.
Right.
That's my only thing.
So that's different than learning how to walk. You know what I mean? Just giving some people company is different than teaching them how to be independent in the world.
Well, it's teaching them how to get out of a rut.
But that's different than learning how to walk.
That. Well, it's still, so she's clearly in a depressive state, right? And it's because of what happened at the school, and she is second guessing her career and all this and that. And he kind of takes her away from that. And in doing so, she, I guess, finds herself again, builds her confidence again, and makes like the decision, right? I'm going to leave. I'm going to go back to my hometown and I'm going to go teach over there. And she straight up says that you saved me. So we kind of have to accept that what he was doing is what was saving her.
Right.
Even if it's not explicit, like, hey, tell me what your problem is. Let me help fix it. It's just the little things, and I think that's what the whole point is.
Okay, I know what you mean, but my thing is also like if just him meeting her whenever it rains, first of all, what school is gonna let their kid miss first period every single time it rains and just be like, oh, it's just raining. That's just Eddie. He misses when it rains. What are you gonna do? He misses first period because it's raining. No, that kid is expelled now in the real world. So that's one thing. But also, like, it just shows how much that relationship, like, how that for that relationship to be one of friendliness, a friendship, sorry, and for it to mean that much to her, that just him being there and giving her sandwiches is changing her life. It's showing that obviously that it means much more. There's a romantic aspect. You can't just have a friendship relationship
Or
like a friendship that is that meaningful.
yeah, I was gonna
That is changing your life because somebody's bringing you
I
sandwiches.
was gonna say she's incredibly lonely because she has no friends, and that's why it meant so much to her. But that part is unrealistic, right? She
Yeah.
was obviously in a relationship with a guy she was talking to, like a coworker, who's gonna fill out the
Yeah.
resignation paper.
Yeah.
So she had someone in her life. I don't know why she leaned so much on this little
But not
kid.
someone who I guess was as genuine or sincere as Takawa was.
Then why let's stay with the dude?
Well, what we don't know. I mean, okay, so
Because she's got a thing for kids.
well, does she stay with him? Right? He makes her the shoe eventually, and he has like a note from her that says, "I'll see you in February
Yeah.
of like the following year."
When he's 16.
And he'll find his way to her, right?
No, I think the idea is that he's older in that thing, right? Because
Well,
he's like
he's not just like literally physically older, but he's accomplished in making a pair of shoes.
no, but isn't
Like,
wasn't the thing
that's
that
like that's symbolizing that he's grown.
That's a legal test if you're an adult, if you can make a shoe.
Yep.
All right, so
That's what they do when you go to buy alcohol. They're like, "Well, where's the shoes that you made?"
Yeah. Let me check out your feet.
Yeah. Are those are Skechers. That's not you didn't make those.
Right.
all right. So what about the poem that she says to him at the very first meetup before she leaves? I wrote it down. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it at all.
I think it's a stretch to make that like very relevant.
Yeah. Well, from the poem, I suspect that they do end up being together. So the poem goes like she says to him, "A faint clap of thunder, clouded skies, perhaps rain will come. If so, will you stay here with me?" And then he like doesn't know what this is. It's a tanka. It's a type of poem in Japanese.
It's
And
like haiku, but not.
yeah, not a haiku, but a
And it-
different type of poem, a tanka.
It's supposed to be a well-known classical piece
Yeah,
of
so he
poetry, right?
in classical poetry literature, he's reading it and he finds the response to that question, and he says it back to her: "A faint clap of thunder, even if rain comes or not, I will stay here together with you." Basically, she totally led him on with that. So he thinks that he has the okay
chance.
to, proceed, to go
Yeah.
forward. And that's why he goes ahead and actually says, "Hey, I think I'm falling in love with you." And then she screws him over.
Me just hearing that poem, it's a very poetic tanka or whatever, right? The question and the response.
Hmm.
But its relevance to the movie, I am questioning it because when I just think of that, right? A faint clap of thunder or whatever, if it rains, will you stay here with me? That is kind of that you can take that in so many different ways. It could mean either to one of two things, like if it rains, will you not go into the world and just sit here and just cuddle me? Something like that. Right? There's a couple, they're in their house, whatever. Stuff is going on out there. Just don't go out there. Just stay here with me. Let's just be together because you're safe. Right? And his thing is, yeah, I'm not going to go out into the world. I'm just going to stay here with you.
Even if it rains or not.
Even if it rains or, yeah, exactly. Whether it rains or not, I'm here with you no matter what. Right?
Yeah.
It could mean that, or it could also mean when stuff gets ugly, will you stay with me? Which, you can kind of take it that way as well. And he's like, yeah, when stuff gets ugly, I'll stay here with you. How is that relevant to this movie outside of literal rain?
No, it is relevant because she's in a depressive state, in a really bad spot in her life, and
Right.
that's when it's ugly, and he's there for her.
Right. So for that to be the case and not be romantic is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the
No, I
movie is
agree with you
posing
there.
it like, oh, this isn't a romantic thing. They're just friends.
Well,
But then you throw in that kind of poetry, and it's just reinforcing the fact that this is a very improper relationship
okay,
to
sure.
be having and to be
So
made normal.
Yeah.
because of, again, like Fahad mentioned, the taboo, and that exists here in the West, exists clearly in Japanese culture as well. Because of the pressure of that taboo, she rejects him, right? When he proclaims his love. But
Right.
she realizes, forget the taboo, forget all of this. And then she goes to him, and basically that's the climax of the movie, right? She accepts him, and he kind of accepts her back. I don't know. Like, I think they forego that taboo and they say, yeah, we're gonna be a couple. Whether like they do it or not, I can't tell. I mean, he's still in school. He's still in Tokyo. She goes back to her hometown, but maybe they reconnect after a while once he's.
But see, there's still a 12-year difference. So like, even when he becomes a shoe cobbler, right? What is he? Let's say he's 22. Let's say he's 23. She's 40.
She's 35.
30. She's 36 or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
35, 36. That's still like. I mean, I don't know. It's not illegal. But people are getting canceled for it. Chris D'Elia got canceled for that. So exact thing.
Whoa,
So-
Chris D'Elia, are you gonna defend him, bro? I heard that there's a lot of underage stuff.
No. I'm not defending him. In fact, I'm using that as evidence here. Is that somebody got canceled for that. We're just pretending like this is all good and well in this movie. And it's really like
the
you know what I mean?
defense would be that they're both consenting to this without any
So-
pressure from the other side.
Wait, so was everybody in Chris D'Elia's thing.
Okay, I'm not gonna get into that. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know.
No,
anything
that's
about that.
that's the thing, is that it's weird that he's a 30 in his mid 30s. He is hanging around with all of these freshly legal people, girls, and that's the situation here, dude. She's into just people who are. First of all, this is worse because he's 15 at the time that she was into him, and then even if later on he's like in his career and he's in his low 20s, she's still way older, and it's still, if it's not wrong, it's still weird.
No, I mean, I'm not defending it. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
weird. I just think
And it would be fine. It would be fine if the movie was like, look at these weirdos.
it's
But they're like, look, this is a great love story.
yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to show that it's a very genuine love between these
Yeah.
two people here.
And I think for them to just do that and completely sidestep this whole situation that they created in our minds is really, it's kind of messed up for them to do, to make us okay with it. Try to make us okay with
It's
it.
like trying to find a way out without really doing it well.
Yeah.
Fahad, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I don't think we should add anything to this. Such a short movie. We should keep it pretty
Yeah,
short.
no, I'm good at this point. We'll leave it at that. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
We will be back on Monday.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to this production of The Twice Over. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcast. And remember to support us on Patreon or by sharing the podcast with a friend. Feel free to contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Twice Over, or email us at comments@thetwiceover.com. All of the music you heard is from Amerigo Gazaway. Check him out on Bandcamp and Spotify.